We are gearing up for what might be the biggest year in gaming ever if 2020 ends up being as stacked as it looks right now. Currently, the biggest releases are slated for the first portion of the year, but many of 2020's end-of-year releases and surprises are yet to be revealed. And with 2 new consoles on the horizon in Sony's PS5 and the Microsoft Xbox Series X, we can't wait to see what comes next. But for now, here are all the biggest platform exclusives we already know about releasing in 2020. Joel and Ellie's first adventure was a bona fide masterpiece and ended on a very controversial note. Now, 5 years after the conclusion of The Last of Us, Ellie is on her own adventure for redemption. And from the limited hands-on time we've gotten with the game, we really like what we've gotten to play so far.
You think I'd let you do this on your own?
The return to Midgar has been in the works for a very, very long time. Originally announced back at E3 2015, Final Fantasy VII Remake has changed development hands and started from scratch before it was re-revealed earlier this year. But don't worry, the second game has already begun development, so hopefully we won't have to wait another 20 years to continue our adventure.
Okay, that was pretty cool.
Asymmetrical multiplayer games haven't had the greatest success breaking through to the mainstream, but with games like Resident Evil's Project Resistance likely coming next year, 2020 may finally be the year that this niche genre gets its moment. Predator Hunting Ground uses the same formula, pitting 4 players against a single player-controlled predator to try and survive. After years of being behind Japan's releases of the Yakuza series, we are finally going to be caught up with the 7th mainline entry in the series, Yakuza Like a Dragon, when it releases stateside sometime in 2020. Like a Dragon changes things up quite a bit by adding turn-based combat instead of the fluid action style that the series is known for. And while we're at it, Yakuza 5 will be making its proper Western PS4 debut as part of Yakuza the Remastered Collection when it releases in early 2020. While the original PS3 version was localized and released as a digital download in 2015, the Remastered Collection will contain remasters of Yakuza 3, Yakuza 4, and Yakuza 5. That makes, in 2020, 8 Yakuza games total on the PS4. Wowzers. Developed in tandem with Marvel Game Studios, who oversaw development of Marvel's Spider-Man on PS4, Iron Man VR will not only allow players to suit up in Tony Stark's high-tech suit of armor, but will feature a full campaign as well. Based on the turn-based RPG Granblue Fantasy, Versus pits players against each other in one-on-one battles. It features Gran, the main protagonist, along with 10 additional characters from the series who will duke it out for the title of champion. It's a fighting game. Nioh 2 follows the 2017 Souls-like game Nioh and will have players returning to Sengoku-era Japan to face brutal monsters and demons in relentless martial arts-style combat with unmatched historical accuracy. Joker and his gang of Phantom Thieves return in Persona 5 Royal, a special edition of Persona 5 that includes a new party member, Kasumi Yoshizawa, as well as new friend encounters, a 3rd school term, more difficult enemies, and more. Oh boy, more school.
Did you know? We are all capable of changing ourselves, if we just believe.
After more than a year without any new information, we finally got a lengthy new gameplay trailer and release date window for Sucker Punch's next game, Ghost of Tsushima. While we don't know much about the story, we know it involves a samurai warrior named Jin who will gain various skills and abilities while traversing the vast open world of feudal Japan. Okay, while this one actually isn't a PS4 game, it is the first confirmed PS5 game we know about. Announced during the Game Awards, Godfall is being described as a looter slasher that will be playable solo or with up to 3 other players in cooperative play. Infinite continues the story of Halo 5 Guardians and sees the return of the Master Chief playing more of a central role. It's also being built on the brand new Slipstream engine and looks gorgeous, by the way, and it's confirmed to be a launch game for the Xbox Series X in late 2020. Instead of building your own worlds with friends, you'll get to explore handcrafted levels full of enemies and plenty of loot in Minecraft dungeons. You can explore alone or with up to 4 players to take down enemy mobs and take down the Arch-Illager. Raz is back with the rest of his psychic buddies and tasked with entering new characters' mental worlds to fight their inner demons. Armed with new psi abilities, Raz will need all the help he can get, all while diving more into his family's history and learning more about the curse that plagues them. Mental Illness, the platformer.
Ooh, is that honey pepper boar bacon?
Developer Ninja Theory's stylish online brawler Bleeding Edge features 12 characters to choose from, each with varying roles and abilities to master in 4v4 team-based combat. Taking place 12 years before the events of the first Gears of War game, Gears Tactics is a turn-based strategy game that features a completely different squad. The story will revolve around your characters, and combat will feature massive boss battles, according to developer The Coalition. This micro-sized world looks to be pulled straight from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which tasks players with braving the backyard environment by looting, crafting, and building, using every resource to ensure their survival. Missions can be played solo or in 4-player co-op gameplay. The creators of Life is Strange are back to tell another story focused on the relationship between twins Tyler and Allison. Tell Me Why is an adventure that spans 3 episodes and follows the twins as they uncover memories of their troubled childhood. That sounds like a hoot, doesn't it? The post-apocalyptic saga concludes with Wasteland 3. As the sole survivor of Team November, you're tasked with exploring the icy wasteland of Colorado with your party, and for the first time ever, you'll be able to play through the campaign cooperatively with a friend.
That's our show for the day. Tune in tomorrow, and we're going to talk about the dangers of cannibalism.
Dust off your old Flight Simulator joystick because Microsoft Flight Simulator is back for the modern generation. Using over 2,000 terabytes of data from Bing Maps, it will simulate the entire Earth's environment and allow you to create your own flight paths to fly anywhere in the world. This ain't your dad's Flight Simulator. This sounds insane. Taking place on a deserted island, Animal Crossing New Horizons transports players to a new environment far from the bustling towns of the previous games. New Horizons features plenty of customization that the series is known for, including the ability to create your own camp, as well as a new crafting system. Plus, adorable animals everywhere that you could be friends with.
We can't wait for you to experience the Nook Inc. Deserted Island Getaway Package.
2 unlikely franchises come together in the mouthful that is Tokyo Mirage Sessions' Sharp FE Encore, which features characters from the Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei franchises. This updated Wii U re-release features turn-based battles and lots of dancing. Taking place 2 years after the events of Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, Travis is now tasked with taking down intergalactic assassins after a mysterious flying object appears in the sky over the fictional city of Santa Destroy, California. We said it was fictional in case you tried to go there. It's not real. Moving on. Originally released on the Wii almost a decade ago, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition revisits Shulk's story with updated visuals. Developed by the team behind the original 2010 release, Deadly Premonition 2 follows the intertwining stories of 2 FBI agents. When Aaliyah Davis begins investigating an old case, she is transported back in time 14 years following another agent, Francis York Morgan. The 2 will journey between past and present in this mysterious adventure that's probably going to be very weird. While not actually confirmed for a 2020 release, we haven't heard much about Bayonetta 3 since it was announced in 2017, aside from Nintendo reminding us that it's still in development during a Nintendo Direct earlier this year. Thanks, Nintendo. We're eager to see what the Wicked Witch is up to when it finally releases, though here's hoping it's sooner rather than later. Bravely Default 2 will pit 4 new Heroes of Light against the world as they search for and retrieve the 4 crystals. While the name would imply this is the second Bravely Default game, it's actually the third in the series. A tweet from Nintendo promises that players can, quote, expect a brand new world, new Heroes of Light, and music from Revo in the successor to the original Bravely Default. Okay, this one is a big maybe. After surprising fans during its E3 2019 Direct, Breath of the Wild 2 is officially underway. From the trailer, it looks like a much darker adventure than Link's previous outing, though when it's coming out is anybody's guess. While it might not be the Half-Life sequel that everybody has been wanting for like a decade now, it is technically a sequel to the first game. Half-Life Alyx is a VR adventure that takes place between the events of Half-Life and Half-Life 2 and will follow protagonist Alyx Vance as she seeks to take down the Combine, a deadly alien race. Oh, and by the way, this is an exclusive VR game. The long-dormant first-person shooter franchise returns in VR for the first time and is being developed by Respawn Studios. Interesting. Set in the year 2029, Roller Champions arenas have been assembled all over the world for fans to gather and watch the unique roller skating sports hybrid matches. Chivalry 2 looks to recreate massive medieval battles in first person. With up to 64 players in a match, you'll have the option to ride on horseback, shoot fire arrows, strike down foes with your greatsword, and much, much more. It's a big, huge game with medieval people running around doing stuff on a field. What's not to like? Speaking of which, Bannerlord is the eagerly anticipated expansion for Mount & Blade 2 that is hopefully due out in 2020 that will expand on sieges, massive battles that feature hundreds of units storming armed castles, probably with cool swords. In the follow-up to Evil Genius, your world domination continues as you recruit and train a force of minions to undertake diabolical schemes on your behalf. You'll also have the ability to create multi-level secret bases as well. Ah, yes, it's all coming together now. Microsoft announced a new studio during this year's X19 called World's Edge, who will be dedicated to continuing the Age of Empires franchise, beginning with Age of Empires 4. Announced during Gamescom 2017, Microsoft has been fairly tight-lipped on the project, although creative director Adam Isgreen said earlier this year, quote, "We've been hard at work on the game and we're excited to share some of it with the world today." And to that, I say, whoa. So there you have it. Those are all the big, huge exclusive games coming out in 2020 that we know about currently. And oh, by the way, those are just the exclusives. There are still plenty of multi-platform games coming out. And trust me, if you want to find out more about any of them, we will be covering them right here on IGN. Keep it locked. We're all going to be very tired next year.